Then you're going to hear an official welcome from your councilperson, Councilmember Palmer, who will be followed by Mayor Landrieu. Mayor Landrieu is going to give you a little brief statement about this process, your engagement, some of the accomplishments, and then it's going to be your turn to speak. As you entered the room, you should have received index cards. If you wish to make suggestions, recommendations, or even just your opinion, we ask that you fill those cards out. We also ask that you rank the priorities as you see fit. This is your opportunity to guide the two levels of government in terms of what should be the city's priority. You're going to have 2 minutes in which to speak. You're going to be prompted by me right at about 30 seconds left. At that point, we're going to ask that you begin to bring your comments to a close. For those of you who may want to yield their time to allow someone else to speak, we're going to ask that you wait until the end, because we want to get the citizens who are actually here an opportunity to speak. With that, I give you Ms. Judy Reese-Morris.
Thank you, Mr. Sylvain. Good evening, everyone. It is a pleasure to be here with all of you, District C, the Eastbank. We're really pleased to come before you again to discuss the budget. This is the final community meeting that we've held on the budget around the city, and we're really looking for a very, very strong ending. All of our meetings have been extremely successful. We've gotten fantastic feedback from citizens across the city. We've basically asked them, and so we will be asking you as well, to tell us how we should spend your tax dollars. And so as a part of that process, we're going to, as Vincent said, ask you to present your questions, your ideas, your comments, and your feedback. And of course, you'll hear directly from the mayor or someone else from our team who will be able to answer your questions. I hope that all of you, as many as you who wanted to participate, had the opportunity to stop off at one of the tables that make up our resource center outside. They will stay in place after the meeting is over, so that if something comes up that you hear during the meeting and you want to, again, share an idea or give some feedback or ask a question, you'll be able to do that after the meeting. I want to talk a little bit about citizen engagement, though, because this is something that we are very, very proud of in this administration. Of course, you know, because of all the work that we did last year around the budget and the numerous meetings and focus groups and information sessions that we've held since this time last year, citizen engagement is extremely important to Mayor Landrieu and to our entire senior team. It's really important for us to know what you think about the work that we do, and to give us your feedback and to share your ideas with us. It's how we're going to make the best policy decisions and hopefully show the greatest impact and show the results that we're looking for and the results that you're looking for. And so New Orleans is fast becoming, because of all this work that we're doing, fast becoming one of this country's leading examples, best practices in the area of citizen engagement. And so you can look forward to us engaging you even more and in in greater ways in the future. But tonight we're here to talk about the budget and its impact on you as citizens. We call the process that we use internally budgeting for outcomes. That process is very, very simple. We match budget dollars with budget priorities. And we do it around 6 result areas. We focus on economic development, sustainable communities, innovation, open and effective government, public safety, and children and families. And while there's tons of work that we can do in any of those areas, we really look to you to help us to shape the specific areas that we are going to assign to each one of those result areas. We look at it and we take the budget dollars that we have and we assign budget dollars to each one of those areas until our budget runs out. That's the process. Once we finish that part of it, we rate and rank the findings, our results, and then we develop performance measures to support those result areas. And those performance measures are important because they help us to stay on track and on budget. And that, of course, is something that is very important to this administration as well. We take all of that and we present it to the City Council for their consideration and discussion and debate. And of course, during the community, the council hearings, it's another opportunity for all of you as citizens to give your input on the budget, and we hope that you will try to make time in your schedules to do that. Once that entire process is finished, we will have a budget, a city budget for the year 2012. Now, as a part of this budgeting for outcomes process, we have also developed a vision statement and a mission statement and core values that we, as a senior team, try to follow every day. It helps to guide our work at City Hall. And if you're interested in knowing more about those, you can go to our website and take a look at them. But again, thank you for coming this evening. We're really, really pleased with this fantastic turnout. We're very anxious and excited to hear from you and again, to get your feedback and your ideas. And before we move on, I want to bring up Andy Copeland, who is our city's first deputy mayor and also our chief administrative officer. Andy's going to talk a little bit more about the budget, and he's also going to talk about the city's accountability report and why you should really pay attention to that report. So please join me in welcoming Andy Copeland.
Thank you, Judy, and good evening, everybody. It's a great turnout, and this, I think, is a best practice of citizen engagement to see standing room only in the quarter tonight. As Judy said, budgeting is about setting priorities, and it's about making choices that reflect what the citizens of New Orleans want to see their budget dollars go to. And so, just as we did last year, we came around the city, and we held forums like these, and we asked you all to speak out about the priorities that you want your budget dollars to address. And we then worked with the City Council to pass a budget that was structurally balanced. And I want to just highlight that for a moment. Our budget this year is about $488 million in general funds. That's taxes, fees, fines, forfeitures, those sorts of things. That is about $40 million less than the city spent in 2009. But for the first time since Katrina, there's as much revenue coming in on a recurring basis as there is in the budget. So in the prior years after Katrina, the city went through a $70 million bank account and about $300 million worth of federal community disaster loans and state GO-Zone loans for the city, leaving the cupboard and the bank account completely bare. And so that's the challenge that collectively you all as citizens and we managing the budget have faced. The good news is that our city budget is structurally sound and it's paid for. The bad news is it causes us to make tough decisions every day, and I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing because that's what the mayor and the council and you all have charged us with doing, is making those tough choices to make sure that we spend money in smart ways that add value. We stop doing things that ought not be done, and we make sure that we pinch every penny. And that's what we do. And it starts in this process with you all saying, this is what we need to see more of. And it continues through the process with the council of allocating those resources. And fundamentally, it is about us matching your requests with specific outcomes. So last year we heard about potholes. We heard about storm drains. We heard about blight. We heard about crime. And in every instance, we put a number in the budget with a result that we wanted to see achieved when those dollars get spent. And so we have just published our second version of what is called Results NOLA. It is our quarterly report of how we're doing against those goals. So how many potholes did we get in the last quarter? Are we on target to meeting our annual goal that was put in the budget, or are we not? If we're not on target, what adjustments are we making? So you see all the heads of city agencies sitting behind the mayor. This is their working document. everything revolves around whether or not their dollars, your dollars, our dollars, are being utilized effectively to produce the results that we promised. Where we are, we're going to then raise the bar and try to go faster, quicker, do more with the money we've got. Where we are missing the targets, we're reorganizing. So let's talk about a few of the areas that are highlighted in this report. 33,000 potholes filled so far this year. We're well ahead of the target. DWI arrests are up 22% by the NOPD. We've added recycling to the services in most of the city. Admittedly, because of the contract in this area, in the French Quarter particularly, that hasn't happened, but the rest of the city has that service. We doubled the funding for NORD and doubled the number of summer youth in jobs because we heard at these meetings last year that we had too few activities for our young people, especially our teenagers. We have conducted 14,875 blight inspections in the first 6 months of this year. And we have brought nearly 1,000 properties through the blight foreclosure process to sheriff's sale. Prior to this calendar year, about a dozen blighted properties in the city had gone to a sheriff's sale. This year we have seized 1,000 properties and are going through that process. On the other hand, one area where we're not hitting our marks is on blight hearings. Turns out that those are more time-taking than we had budgeted for, so we've allocated resources away from inspections and away from other things, hired more paralegals, and gotten help from the Bar Association to try to ramp up the number of hearings because we realize we're not reaching our target. So that's the way this process works. We've put a measure in there, and we work relentlessly and purposefully to hit those goals. We are hardly perfect, but we are improving every day, and you can see those results on our website through the Results NOLA report. And so what we ask of you again this year and tonight is to tell us what those priorities are, tell us what's working, what's not, so that we can build a budget that best reflects what your priorities are, and then we'll go put outcome measures to dollars, and again, produce a budget that's structurally balanced, that produces great results, and we're going to manage all year long to making sure that we do what we said we would do in that budget. And so that's the process. We look forward to getting your input again, and then working with the council. And so now, speaking of the council, it's my privilege to introduce your council member, Kristen Gislason-Palmer, who you all know and we all know as a tenacious and a smart and a passionate and a progressive and a thoughtful public servant. And we're very proud to have her as a partner in city government. Kristen, welcome.
Thank you, Andy. I'm going to be very brief. First, I want to thank all of you for coming tonight. I think this is a very important part of the process, especially the budgeting process. But I'd also like to thank the administration and the mayor. You know, District C is a perfect reflection of the entire city of New Orleans in terms of our diversity, in terms of that we reflect suburban, urban, historic, non-historic. We're on both sides of the river. And so when we started this process, I did request that we have a budget hearing on the West Bank and one on the East Bank, because I think it's very important that we listen to all different sides. And I think this district is very complicated, wonderfully so. And each of our residents are so passionate about where they are from that I felt it was very important to have one in the French Quarter. And so I do want to thank the administration for doing that and for all of you to come out. And with that being said, when we talk about District C, tonight we're really going to try to focus on the East Bank. And so I really hope that all of you keep your comments to things that really affect you. And this is really your night to talk about these issues in a respectful manner, in a way that shows we're all very passionate about our communities. The French Quarter has wonderful, we all know about the French Quarter and what a great community is, both for the residences and the businesses, but it has the added pressure of having 8 million visitors come through a year. And then we have the Marigny experiencing their pressures with Frenchmen. We have Tremé right across from North Rampart and Esplanade Ridge, and Faubourg St. Roch is here, and part of our wonderful friends at the St. Claude Corridor. So with that, I really turn this over to you, and I want to be as quick to give you as much time as possible. I see Councilmember at Large Jacqueline Clarkson came in. Thank you for being here. And again, thanks so much for your comments.
Well, thank you. Nothing like walking in and getting to speak. What a nice full house. And thank you all for being here. And aren't you excited about everything going on in this city? That's your cue to clap. And this, I say it everywhere I go, what a great group to work with. They respond, they coordinate. We just came through a weather event, as the mayor called it, which is a good word, a new word for me, weather event. And I've never seen such response and coordination of departments. It was masterful. And I'm here to tell you, for a long time, we've needed that, and we have it now, and it works well. So thank you all for that awesome work over the weekend. It was a good dry run for any real emergency. But on a regular basis, you know how proud I have been to proudly represent all of you for so many years, and I gratefully appreciate the support I've had. And it's a privilege now to support the team that's in place, to be president of this council with a great council, a great administration, a mayor that leads, and we work as a team. And so I'm here to tell you that it's a new day in this city and a glorious day to look forward to the future of this city. And as the mayor always says, to build the city we want to become, not the city we were. And more importantly, I think, is that we all do recognize, I know that there's more than the French Quarter here, but we're in the French Quarter, and there's a lot of French Quarter here. And I've loved the Eastbank of District C. I've loved the Marigny and the Bywater and Tremé and Faubourg St. John dearly, and you know I have. And we have a lot of respect for what you all need and want. But more importantly is that we understand that we have to work as a total city, and that the French Quarter is the front door. Whether you live in Algiers, and I do, or whether you love the rest of the Eastbank District C, the French Quarter is the front door. And it is the place where the millions, as Ms. Palmer said, where millions of visitors come. And so we do have to sometimes give more emphasis there, and I'm always being told, talk about something besides the French Quarter. And so I'm here to tell you that we understand the French Quarter is the front door, but more importantly, we understand that there'd be no front door if there wasn't a home. And the rest of you make up the rest of the home. And it's a very happy home. It's a good day in this city, and thank you for being a part of it.
Okay, thank you, Jackie. That was a wonderful introduction. It's good to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming. I'll say that again. It's great for all of you. This is our 7th meeting that we've had in the last 6 weeks. I told you in response to y'all's request that we would bring the city to you every year. We have done that. I want to thank Andy and Judy for their tremendous work, and all the other deputy mayors, and Jackie and Chrissy have been great partners. But I hope when you came tonight, you saw that outside you had individuals that worked for city government sitting at those tables. They were there for you to give them requests for anything that you might have a need for as it relates to city government. I also mentioned to you at your request that we would bring anybody that's got anything to do with a governmental entity in New Orleans to you so that you can see them. So tonight we have the entire executive branch of the city of New Orleans here with us. All the deputy mayors are here, all the department heads are here. A lot of the folks that work on some of the commissions are here as well. We also have the Regional Transit Authority, the Aviation Board, the Surge and Water Board, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that you can see them, I want them all to stand up for you because you may have a need to speak to them before you leave tonight. So would you all stand up so they can see that you're here? Thank you all so much. We also have the commanders of the 1st Session, Robert Norton here. I will stand up. Commander Chris Goodley. Chris is with us. Jeff, 8th District, Heather Couts. Heather Waring is Heather with us. She should be shortly. We have Chief Darrell Albert, Chief Kirk Borealis, and Chief Sopas are with us as well. Chief, you want to stand up so we can see you? All right. Just a couple of comments, and then I'm gonna hit my seat. Immediate things. You know that about a week ago, we had a wildfire out in New Orleans East. 1,500 acres kind of got inflamed. Chief Parent is with us, helped lead that fight with Deputy Mayor Sneed. They did a great job. These are very dangerous things. We didn't know it at the time, but they were going to have a major conflagration in Texas. I was unaware of this, but there were actually 640 fires in Louisiana in the middle of the summer and through August. And there are a number of different fires. One of them that was fairly serious in Natchitoches. And then we had one here. We called in the National Guard. We were able to put out a small 24-acre fire that was in the area, but the 1,500-acre piece continued to burn. We all prayed for rain. We got it. It was the best. It was the best medicine. It might have been a little bit much, but in any event, we took a flyover yesterday, and for the most part, our best assessment is that particular fire, while it's not completely out, is just smoldering. It is very, very wet, and it's highly unlikely that it's going to move back in. So the smoke that you had been smelling, that had really kind of traversed the entire city, especially New Orleans East in the lower Ninth Ward, you may smell remnants of it. If you smelled some today, that really was actually part of another fire that was at a home in the city today, but we think we've got that under control. I want to thank all of you for cooperating so well with the emergency operation response we had with Lee. I think everybody did a spectacular job in preparing, getting organized, following directions. Our team was on duty 24/7. I think they handled it very, very well, but again, it was just a test run. I think all of us were reminded again by looking at the storms up on the eastern coast how devastating even a Category 1 storm can be. So again, I would just commend to you that as we get into September, which historically is the busiest month for the receipt of storms, that we pay attention to it and be vigilant. And again, use this storm and what you did or what you didn't do, what you were supposed to do, and what you actually didn't accomplish that you thought you could do. Think about your plan, right? So yours truly kept telling y'all to get batteries for your flashlights, and I realized that I didn't have any batteries for mine, so I ran to Home Depot, and there was only one stack of D batteries left, and there was another lady that had her hands on them, and I had mine on them. I said, how's this going to work itself out? I gave up. You get the point, right? And so everybody's got holes in their hurricane evacuation plan, so I would just commend it to you. All right, just a couple of things. First of all, we are about, what's our day? 474. We've been in office 474 days. Now, why do we do that? We do that because every day is important, and time is constant, and it's finite, and you can't ever get it back. And so we measure ourselves, and it's important for us to do. All of these things that you hear, Blight Stat, Rec to Check, all of that stuff is designed to measure our progress or the lack thereof so that you can see whether we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, not to get mad at us, but to hold us accountable for doing more. So when we got in office, we didn't know how many cars we had. We didn't know how many pieces of property we owned. We had a difficult time knowing who we were sending checks to. Contracts we couldn't find. So we have been spending a lot of time getting the mousetrap of government, the intricacies, the business of governing, kind of in line. We also, when we came into office, had a big budget hole. So Andy talked to you a little bit about that, and you see some of this on the national level, but everybody that's a business owner knows money comes in and money goes out, and it's supposed to equal. Right? And if you're borrowing a lot of money or you're using one-time money and you got it this high, there's going to be a gulf somewhere along the way. And of course, that came to us. And so we found ourselves with about a $100 million problem. That's about 25% of our budget. And so this team kind of went to work cutting, reorganizing. We furloughed every city employee, yours included. And we renegotiated contracts. We did a whole bunch of stuff to try to pull ourselves into line. And we believe that we are in the process of stabilizing the budget. And stable means when we all figure out how much money everybody wants to pay, expending that amount of money on things that you think are important and have it stable and sustainable over a long period of time. right? And not relying on one-time money when you don't have to, or not borrowing more money than you should, so you are not living hand to mouth, or you're not worrying about whether the federal government is going to get into a lockdown and not be able to do anything, or et cetera. So we did that last year, and in the process, we came to see you, and you told us a bunch of stuff. We had meetings all over the city just like this. They were all well attended. They were all handled wonderfully by the citizens. Everybody was respectful, stayed in their time. I would encourage you to do that again. But basically said, look, we want you to get the budget right. We want the city to be safe. We want you to fill the potholes, get the street lights on, get the catch basins clean, give our kids something to do by, fixing Nord. And then I want you to deal with Blight. And then we got a whole bunch of other problems we want to talk to you about, but we want you to get on that right away. And so we did, and we brought you, what the budget was. We presented it to the council. We passed it. The council did a great job, and we got to work. And so now we can tell you exactly how many potholes we have filled in the city. And it's important for you to get this, but in this last year, up to now, we filled 33,030 potholes. All right, that were not filled before. We have fixed 6,564 streetlights. We've cleaned 1,430 catch basins. Now, I'll tell you a good thing about it and a bad thing. We thought we were going to fill that many potholes, and we did. We kind of said we thought we could do that, and we hit that mark. On the streetlights, we're pretty close to where we were, but on the catch basins, not doing so good. Right, we're behind. That's an important thing for us to know, not so you can yell at me and say, you said and you didn't do it, but the question is, for all you business leaders, what did we do wrong? What did we miss? We got an equipment problem, is what happened. We don't have enough trucks to fill that many potholes. So either my managers misassessed, right, that capacity, or they didn't guess that we were going to have the right equipment. So now we know we're going to go back and fix that. That's why counting and understanding the metrics from that perspective is important. On the Blight stuff, everybody said that was really, really important. Let me just give you kind of just one new metric if I can find it. In 2009, the year before we came in, the city took down 170 properties. They demolished 170 buildings in 2009. Just in the first 6 months of this year, we've taken down 733. That's good, right? Now, it's not good enough, and it's not intended to tell you that it's good enough. The point is that we'll set up a system. We have tried to create one that's sustainable, that balances historic preservation, making sure that we take down properties in the imminent danger of collapse, trying to make property owners responsible, but we have a process in place right now. And by the way, you're invited. Citizen participation, it's a public meeting every 2 weeks. Anybody who's interested in that can come. Anybody can participate. Anybody in here that's responsible for Blight has to sit around the table and tell us what they did and what they didn't do and why they didn't do it. And when they tell me they did something in the neighborhood, usually somebody from the neighborhood sitting out there saying, that's not true. Y'all must live in a different neighborhood than we do. And then we have that discussion. So there's truth, right, in governing between them and between us. You see that with the new Nord Commission, right? We have public meetings once a month. Everybody comes. We talk about specific things. And so that level of citizen engagement is important, and you see that here tonight. So let me end by saying this. This is your meeting. It's not my meeting. I would ask you again, we would like to try to hear from everybody. I don't know if we're going to have time to do that. Would you please stay within your time, 2 minutes? And you ought to be able to say it clearly and succinctly. I am going to listen to everything that you say. I'm going to write it down. When we're finished and it's my turn again, I'm going to get up and I'm going to try to answer every question that is asked. If I don't know the answer to it, which is quite possible, it happens fairly often, and somebody over here does, I'm going to ask them the answer. If you ask me to do something for your specific block and somebody over here, it's a Blight question, or it's a Nord question, or it's a sewage and water board question, I'm going to ask the person from the city who's responsible, and I'm going to ask you to see them so that you can bring that complaint directly to them. In the event that we do not have the opportunity to hear, because we have an hour, from everybody in the room, and it is 7:30, I'm going to come back up here, and then you're going to decide whether we continue or not. And this is what I'm going to ask you. Do you want me to begin to answer the questions that have already, or do you want to stay here and have other people ask questions because I'm going to answer every one of them? Now, I'll commit this to you. If you do not get a chance to speak publicly at this microphone so everybody in the world can hear you, I am going to stay after, and I am going to entertain every question that every citizen has until the last citizen leaves. All right? So let's go ahead and roll through it. If you have a question, great. If you have a statement, make it, and then we'll just roll through it, and at 7:30 we'll stop. I'll ask your permission of how you wish to go forward, and I'll try to respond as best as I can, and then we'll follow up with you. Does that work for everybody? All right, let's go. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, give the mayor a hand, please.